Heather chat. So today we're going to talk all about self-love. So I'm talking with Heather over in Sydney in Australia. She has a business called Sheer Eden, and she takes naked photos to inspire self-love and self-acceptance. Hello, Heather.
Hi, Hannah.
So you're all about self-love and self-acceptance. So what does self-love look like to you?
So for me, self-love is such a personal thing, and it's what's inspired my business to begin with, was my own personal journey. And so to me, it means cutting out everybody else, all of the background noise, all of the I should be doing this, they want me to do this is what they think of me, and just actually exploring what I like and coming up with a list. It started off with a list of things that I liked, just things I like to eat, things I like to do, things that made me feel good, and then doing them. And it
Yeah.
was just that simple. And slowly but surely started to feel better and better about myself, and the guilt of not doing what everyone else wanted was going, and doing stuff with other people because I wanted to felt amazing because I wanted to do it. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of my focus.
I think I think we spend years and years kind of working out or thinking about what other people expect of us, don't we? And you kind of you fall into a bit of a trap of, oh, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, and you relate it to how old you are. Like, I'm 30, should have a mortgage, I should have this and that and the other, and it's just like ridiculous because actually I don't want one. I don't want to be doing that. So I think it does all start with just kind of shutting out all of that crap, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think when you first do it, it's quite shocking because you can't actually think of what you like. Like it took me quite a long time to go, okay, well, I like spaghetti bolognese. That was like my starting point.
Excellent. And how easy did you find it to just stay on focus, like doing the things that you like, as opposed to
Oh,
worrying about other people?
it's so hard. I mean, you have, like you said, then it was my turning 30 that actually triggered all of this. And I think you have 30 years of doing everything, not necessarily because you don't want to do it, but you're just going with the grain and fitting in and not necessarily giving yourself that self-love and thinking about what you want. And so when you have to go against it, it's almost impossible. You have to have these daily reminders or almost hourly reminders of, do I actually want this?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's quite big in scenarios, isn't it? Like I find myself sometimes at a party or an event, and I'm just like, hang on a minute, why am I here? Like I'm not really enjoying myself. I'm here because I think it's the right thing to do because someone's invited me. But actually, I just want to go home. And I think it's
Yeah.
okay just to go home.
Yeah, and then the next step is to when you get home doing something for yourself that feels amazing and that you love and that is for you, and not just going home and like, yeah, you got one point because you stopped doing something you didn't want to do, but now you need to replace it with something you really want to do, and that's self-love.
Yeah. And another level to that is also not beating yourself up for leaving and not beating yourself up for coming home and doing the thing that you really want to do. Because,
Yeah.
it's fine. Just do what you want to do. So, what's your biggest challenge when it comes to loving yourself?
I think because my whole business started from my own journey and my own self-love journey, that it really is just being nice to myself. I have such a tendency to punish myself and tell myself horrible things, and I think the whole journey's been getting to a point where I can say, yeah, you're all right, you're good, you look nice, you're happy, you're a nice person. And I think the tendency is, so I've done a lot of work with being naked, and obviously that's the focus of my business, and to stand naked in front of the mirror every day and be like, yeah, I'm totally happy with myself. That's taken a long time to get to that point, but I'm also really lucky because it's my job, so I get to, I eat, sleep, breathe it. I do it all the time.
Hmm.
So I think I've maybe got to that point really quite quickly because it's 24 hours a day, something I do. But the internal voice of when things go wrong, or like I get embarrassed quite easily, or I get a bit awkward, and then straight away those voices start of,
Mm.
you've got yourself here again, and it's bad, and that's my biggest struggle, I think.
So, when you look at yourself naked in the mirror, Are you always positive about your body image now, or do you still catch yourself being like, oh, most 99% of it's good, or
I think everybody has bad days, but the first part practice that I took was to ban say negative self-talk. Like it's not an option, it's not allowed. And the first step that I actually took was, so I would try and spend the time where you're naked, extend it a little bit longer than you normally would. So everybody's naked when they get out of the shower, everybody's naked when they get changed in the morning. But I would try and stay naked. So I'd go and brush my teeth naked, or I'd make the bed naked. And I found that was the first step. And then the next step was to look in the mirror and to think of 3 things in life that I was grateful for.
Right.
So it wasn't 3 things about myself I was grateful for. It was 3 things in life. So, I was going to a concert that night and I was looking forward to it, or I'd had a really great dinner with some friends the night before, or, the plants on my balcony are growing really nicely. And I'd do that every day. And then after a while, I started to say 3 nice things about myself that I liked, and, parts of my body that were looking good. And then slowly but surely you wheedle out the negative stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, negative self-talk pops back into my head all the time, but that time in the morning when I'm naked is sacred, and it's banned. And I think the more you practice, the more you can eradicate it.
Absolutely. I did an exercise on a course that I was doing a couple of weeks ago, and they just asked us to get our hand and put it that far away from our face and just look at it, and it was kind of like a bit about being curious, but also like as I was doing it, I was like, whoa, it's actually amazing. Like, how does it do what it does? Do you know what I mean? It's really, really powerful. And I think for me, I take my body for granted massively. I have a fully functioning body. I've got great health, but I don't take that on board. I just see my bum is too big, and that's totally the wrong way to look at it, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my biggest theory is, you don't need to change anything about your body. You just need to change the way you see it.
Yeah.
And yeah,
that's
so
right.
I think just looking at your hand is a great first step.
Yeah. It's radical, really, isn't it? Like, I think so. Like, generally, people think, myself included, for years, and I'm slowly changing my thought pattern about it. But that if I diet and if I do 1,000 runs, in a week, then I'll be happy with my body. And it's really hard to kind of stand in front of the mirror and see a big bum and a bit of a tummy and just be like, that's fine. I love that. It's really hard, isn't it?
It's so hard. And I think you just reminded me of, I actually did some work with a lady who was a bodybuilder. She was training to be in some bodybuilding competitions, and we did a naked photo shoot. And she said to me, you can change all these parts of your bodies. And her body was amazing. I mean, it was just lean muscle. There was no fat, no meat. There was nothing. It was just muscle. Mm. And she said to me, you can change everything about your body, but at the end of the day, you're still you in there. The same things still come up. And she'd had to go on this journey to learn that. And I just was so moved by it, because it's just totally true. You can, go on a diet, you can go for a run, and as long as the thoughts in your head are still the same, you're always going to feel the same. That's not, what you need to change. What you need to change is your thought process.
Yeah. Whoa. Yeah, I mean, I guess that leads on to my next question, which is, what would the world be like if everyone loved themselves? If everyone, yeah.
This is my ultimate goal, and I know it's something that we both share, is life would be so much better. I genuinely believe, well, when you have a confrontation with someone, or a disagreement with someone, or someone upsets you, it comes from within you or within them. It's never anything you did. It's what's going on in their life, or you're upset because of other things that are going on in your life. And if you can wholeheartedly devote yourself to self-love and just looking after yourself, then when things happen that you don't agree with or don't fit in with your life plan, they don't faze you anymore, because you 100% know that you're okay and that you're happy and that you're the only person in control of how you feel about things. Yeah. And so then suddenly, if everybody was doing that, everyone would be nice to each other. The world would be a sunnier place.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I think British culture, I think there's a real thing of about not looking at, about not loving yourself. Like, I think there's a real undertone of who do you think you are if you devote your life to loving yourself. And I think that really has to shift, because once you do love yourself, you give other people permission to do the same. And then when everyone's doing it, then everyone's just nicer to each other. It sounds a bit like an ideal hippie world, but I honestly think that it is the way forward.
Ah, I mean, if you remember when we were at school, an insult was, "Well, how much do you love yourself?"
Yeah,
You know, how
yeah,
ridiculous is that? I think that's the biggest compliment in the world. And, like you said, the minute you start being really nice to yourself, everybody else treats you differently. If you're constantly treating yourself like a doormat, then it gives other people permission to be rude to you or horrible to you. But if you have the highest regard for yourself, it's contagious. And I
yeah,
think, yeah, that's
absolutely.
my mission in life, is to spread that.
Yeah, absolutely. So how would you, as a departing comment, what would you, do you think is the first step for anyone to start on this journey of self-love? What's one thing people could do today?
Ban negative self-talk. I think it's such a huge topic and such a hard thing to do, but I think you can start by every time you hear it, so being aware of it every time you hear something. You can replace it with something positive, and if you're not ready for it to be positive about yourself, it can be something positive about the world or what's happening around you, and I think that's the first step to creating some self-love for yourself.
Absolutely. And yeah, I would totally back that up. That's about affirmations, about yeah, self-belief, self-trust, and I guess I think, from my opinion, I think it's all quite simple. I think we've got a habit, a tendency as humans to overcomplicate things and to see a situation or a idea and make it really complicated. And oh, this could happen, and oh, this could go wrong. And actually, life is quite simple once you step into just loving yourself and appreciating your surroundings. It's all pretty simple, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's been the biggest thing I've learned is suddenly my life is really simple. I used to spend days and hours worrying about situations with other people and, oh, but they said this and then they feel like this and they think I think this, and it was so ridiculously complicated. And then the minute I think someone just pointed out to me that if you don't think about that, that's not an issue.
Yeah,
It's not anything other than the worlds that are going, the whirlwind going on in your brain. And the minute you learn, like you have to learn, and it's not simple and it's not easy. But the minute you learn to step back from that, like you said, it's just simple.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, cool. So I would recommend people commit to self-love. That's all it takes. Just commit. Just let yourself love yourself.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
first step. Woo! Thanks,
Thank
Connie.
you.
Bye.